Oh my god.
Haiti, Korea, Taiwan, Puerto Rico, Colombia,
4
Venezuela.
million times the mass of some
Yeah, no!
What's up for in Taiwan?
Any black hole
Oh
at
my
the same time.
god.
Okay.
The
Animaniacs is brilliant.
the voice actor
Shut up, Michael. You're always waiting. You're never waiting on me. I'm
He was
always
at
there.
Comic-Con last year.
the voice actor for him
I was like,
did an
wait, I'm
updated
saying-
one with modern
Yes.
countries.
My phone
not maybe
died.
a year or two ago.
An hour
Oh,
ago.
does anybody listen to Postmodern Jukebox?
I do.
Yeah.
Did you see the the Brain version?
Michael,
I
you
did.
spent your
It's not
experience?
quite my cup of tea, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
Oh, these human suits are so chafing.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
But,
But where are we gonna find rubber pants our size?
but did you hear that they have somehow increased a rat's brain power by mixing it with some human chunk, and
Some human chunk. Not necessarily a chunk of brain, just chunk.
Well, I'm not sure how they're doing the experiments. I'm not going to vouch for them being much more advanced than they are, but I'm pretty sure that's how you get the brain. That is I'm pretty sure.
So basically, you're telling me we have were-rats?
Did you know that the were in all the were animals stands for human?
Wow.
Not
It's from the
half.
German.
That is correct. A lot of people always think it's like that means half, right?
That's why it gets were guilt
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
because it's
Because the people guild.
yeah the people.
Because it's your people. Your people said, you killed my brother, prepare to pay. Wear guild time. It's either that or I massacre your people. And then we end up massacred. It's far better to sue someone basically for murder as opposed to just murdering them back. Well, and technically the verdict was not murder, it was manslaughter. Yeah. There's a big
Because
difference.
sometimes murders just happen, like
'Cause-
Eric the Red said, and then someone died.
And it's not murder, it's manslaughter.
Mhm.
I didn't mean to do it, I'm sorry, here's recompense so that way your family doesn't starve.
No hurt feelings.
No
yeah.
hurt feelings, no blood vendetta, please don't kill me and my family.
Yeah, because as soon as I leave my boat, you'll kill my family, and where does that
And where
end
does
up?
that,
Yeah.
It's just this
You
vicious
kill
cycle.
us, we kill you, that means neither one of us can kill the English and French and get their money.
And then you realize, wait a minute, are we all cousins anyway?
Yes.
You know,
You
5
know, you
generations.
said- I heard it's not murder, it's manslaughter, and I'm like, yeah, of course it's not murder, it's manslaughter, because I slaughtered a man in front of his family.
Because how often when booze and women are involved does manslaughter not happen?
I could hear this entire conversation be about an alternative band called "It's Not Murder, It's Manslaughter."
Norwegian death metal band.
Eric, what instruments do you play? you look like a saxophone kind of man.
They call it the
Oh,
corpse drum.
saxophones mean death metal.
Hell yes!
It is when the
I've got the
saxophone.
drums, he plays guitar.
It is when the saxophone is made out of the flesh of your enemies.
Yeah. A flesh saxophone.
Flesh saxophone.
It should
Wait.
Isn't that a
You should
bagpipe?
not tell people that you play the flesh saxophone. It means something completely
All
else.
I'm saying is anyone that's gonna be a follower of "It's Not Murder, It's Manslaughter" will be okay with it.
And to be fair,
Oh no!
making a saxophone
Let's
out
have a
of
D&D group that's called "It's Not Murder, It's Manslaughter."
We actually made the Bugbear Bar on the D&D Beyond that day.
Yeah, we're.
Oh no.
Anyway,
With his
so-
gnome drums made fresh
God.
gnomes.
No, the flesh saxophone it's many years of development went into this, and so the precursors to the flesh saxophone are in fact the bagpipe. The screeching wails from a bagpipe are actually the living wails of the skin bag that you made the bagpipes out of.
Mix a little necromancy in there. Use the lung saxo breeze on its
It
own.
breathes on its own.
Yeah, auto bagpipes.
It's not murder if the organs are still functioning.
Say it again to the folks in the back.
Wah, wah.
I am dying.
If the lungs don't quit, you must have quit.
Alright, so now we just need to have a party of bards that all multi-class into wizard necromancy.
And one lawyer.
That's just a college of lore bard. Straight level 20.
Sage background,
Yep.
law. I do
Well, I do
say we
declare.
have a law here. I do say that the lungs are still breathing. You can't quit.
And of course, you can't name him Foghorn Leghorn, but he will in fact play a foghorn
I'll show you that.
with his leg.
Made out of flesh.
Of course, provided by the other members of the
Yes,
party.
yes.
Though he
Okay.
himself is perfectly impartial to every court trial, because he himself is not a necromancer.
That's good exclusion.
The rule.
So when the paladin does the whole sense evil, he's like, I do declare I am not evil.
I am pure neutral.
Ladies and gentlemen
Lawful
of the
neutral.
jury, please dissuade whatever the paladin tells you. So where last we left off, on Last Adventures of the Airship Gallivant. Who wants to recap?
Michael, do you remember everything? Well
Yeah.
enough? Good. Recap.
Alright. So there was this flare, right? And I guess somebody was there, Richard Nixon, what I've been told. He was saved. And then Peter decided to just meditate with this guy in silence. I don't know what he was doing. I thought he was just constipated or something.
It's true.
That's the reanimated R.
And then I saw these stairs. Well, we saw these stairs. He was told about the stairs. And then I wanted to go up there, but then I was convinced to go down. I fell. And then we went up to the stairs. He walked up the stairs. We flew. Almost
I'm
got up
still
there.
back in the village fixing everything.
Fixing everything.
Everything.
Literally everything.
They're bringing back like, here is a stone for our grinding mill. Make it work.
Have we gone from being at like a tribal hill location to like Atlantis in the Aquaman movie at this point?
I have not seen the Aquaman.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's
I
okay.
know.
It should be noted that Jason Momoa in Aquaman, it's just him returning to Atlantis. When you get down to it.
So it's Aquaman the sequel?
Well, he's playing himself, is what he's saying.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Doesn't
So
matter what he plays.
he's
no,
really just
Flashback times.
Well, no.
I'd still watch.
Jason Momoa was already on the screen in Atlantis in a different universe.
Yeah.
I'm also just saying that
Great.
at this point, Jason Momoa is a part of It's Not Murder, It's Manslaughter.
100%.
There's a bunch of...
Every song is him doing haka.
That's all the percussion we need.
So we had Peter who meditated and went up the 4,000 stairs. And then we had our non-believers of Ethermancy jump in their airship and fly up there. Because they're like, we'll meet you at the top. In the
I'm not
airship.
doing a pilgrimage, right?
Listen, I don't not believe in Aethermancy. Like, I've seen it.
But you're practicing.
And all of its tentacles.
I just want absolutely nothing to do with it.
Because you saw
because
that?
of all the tentacles.
So as Peter went up there, he walked through the last of the steps and the clouds, because you walked up into the mountain and the clouds become one. And you saw the outline of the temple and the doors were beginning to open as we wrapped up, as you saw the light glowing from inside. And your ether eyes see that this place is just bathed in ether. Your ether eyes. As in the distance, you're hearing the engines of the airship flying somewhere. It seems like in a dream in the distance. So go ahead and have our pilot give us a piloting check against 3 purple.
Crashing into the cars.
And there's gonna
Don't
be
say anything. I did a fake roll at the end of last session, and I rolled a despair, alright?
and it's gonna be against 3 purple and 2 black, because all of a sudden you're in the pea soup fog as you're like, let's not smear ourselves across the mountain.
Or you can't crash into the mountain if you're already riding the mountain. It's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how that turned out, right?
It looks like more good than bad. Or gooder.
It looks like neutral in terms of successes.
That's even worse.
More good than bad? Yes, you are correct. A advantage?
Yeah.
So you're and you're like squid. You're seeing him squid. He cannot see through the white cloud. As you're like, maybe we should have taken the stairs. As you hear this horrible sound of stone on metal a couple times, as you
I'm
know,
so glad Marjorie's not here.
so glad your mechanic's not here.
This is what it sounds
As
like.
you're
when
hearing the fender get rubbed against quite a few things as you're going up there, you're like, oh, too close, back it up, higher, higher. How can there be a ledge over our heads? Back up, back
Oh,
up.
the
back
good news is it wasn't a ledge, it was an ancient statue that is now going down.
So you were
We can
having a
fix that.
very rough going trying to come up to the top of this mountain. It's almost like you need to invent some kind of device that will let you see through the clouds or something, or like some kind of radar that will let you see through the clouds like a bat.
Now bear with me for a moment.
Hey,
Tentacle.
go out to the observation deck and start screaming, and just listen for the echoes and tell me what direction they're coming from.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right. Ah!
Okay, so go ahead and give me a perception against 2 purple.
Right.
Surprise! I invented sonar.
As he climbs up there and starts yelling.
It's the green dice, correct?
Yep. And it's going to be against 2 purple dice.
Purple.
So do you have any perception?
Yes.
Well, do you have any points in your perception?
No.
Doesn't matter.
He has 4 cunning. It doesn't matter.
He has 4 cunning, so he's okay.
And then
with
you
it.
said 3, correct?
Yeah, you, the
2
odds,
purple.
The odds are well on his side.
But they're narrative dice. Never trust the odds.
Always trust them.
Always.
That's good.
1 success.
Okay, so easily you are shouting, and all you're hearing is the screaming, and then all of a sudden you go and you're like, echo to the front, echo straight above, and he's giving you the echoes, which will take your black dice down to only 1 black dice. You basically made the Poe Man's echo system.
Can you get an extra blue because he's going really slowly?
And Richard scares the shit out of some
Well,
goat.
no.
that's
If he
singing.
goes cautiously, yeah.
It might work better if he
No.
just starts firing the
No.
cannons. You can hear the cannons yourself.
But it's all about the location thing, all right? If something screams and you're right next to it, the echoes won't be true. There's your answer. An advantage and 2 success.
And so basically you have no problem getting the rest of the way, even though you know when you land there's going to be some scratches that need to be buffed out of the outside of the airship.
I'm more concerned with what everyone's going to think about the screening.
True. As you,
Wait, why? When has that
As-
ever been a concern for you?
According-
It's always been a concern for me.
according to his
As
screams,
long as
he's
it's
like,
not an orphan, I'm concerned.
he tells you the echo is gone, so you must be at the top of the hill. So you start coming to the top of the hill,
All right.
and you kind of like, are you going to land so you can look yourself? Like go into hover mode?
I don't really want to look at myself, but I will land.
Okay, so you touch down, you hit the button, your sandbags deploy, you're anchored in the spot, and you get out of you guys are coming out of the ramp of the airship. Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you guys come out the ramp and you look and the fog kind of abates for a second, the mist just breaks, and you see nothing but desolate rock.
I like rocks.
Meanwhile, for our pilgrim who went up the stairs, you see this beautiful temple with the glowing light coming in and the doors opening. and you basically get the sense that you are welcome here. As you look in and you see some figures in meditation.
Those clouds aren't water, they're opium.
So is there like a door?
Yeah, the door opened for you. As soon
Oh,
as
go
you,
into
as soon as
the
you
light.
stepped up on the
Okay.
plateau, the doors are opening for you automatically.
Walking?
Okay, you walk in and immediately you get this sense that you should take your shoes off because you see the rope shoes.
Oh.
And as your
Take
foot
the shoes off.
squeaks and you look and realize that there's like rows and rows of sandals, so you can put your shoes up. And you see about 6 rows of people just kneeling in meditation. course.
Are they meditating like towards each other? Are they meditating towards the
That's a
inside?
good question. They're meditating. Their backs are to you. They're facing the altar that's up ahead that has a gentleman that for a second you think is very familiar. Almost like the gentleman that you were meditating with down below, only like 10 years, maybe 15 years younger and more teeth.
Okay.
And behind him is a altar of a gold dragon that seems to be bathed in ether flames. And of course, one of those giant meditation bells, you know, ones you spin.
Do I see any of those melted footprints?
You see none of those here.
Okay.
You've stumped him.
Do we see her?
Okay. I
No,
know.
when you guys
You don't
land on
even see the
top,
temple.
there's no temple. It's just desolate mountaintop.
Oh man, we're high as shit too.
Since I just learned how to do this, I will stand. Trying to remember if Russians bow. Russians don't bow. I will stand, and since I just learned this, I'm going to think at the guy in front of the dragon.
You're gonna think at him?
Yes.
What are you gonna think at him?
I knew that question was coming.
Suki.
Greetings, venerable.
Okay, so you're just thinking, you're projecting it. Now, are you gonna use ethermancy for that, or are you just gonna think it?
So when I was thinking with the old man, was I using ethermancy?
You think you probably were.
Okay, then I will try and use ethermancy.
Okay. Using your primal ethermancy.
Versus,
It's just 2 purple, just average. What's the worst that happens?
Every time I think of primal
I'm
ether,
doing
it's in my
this,
head,
so
I
I'm
just
going to
hear-
try and take extra time so I get blue.
I'll give you blue for taking extra time. That was playing with fire.
On two.
And she looks at her Zippo, the people are like, ooh, fire. And they're like, sorry, we're just kidding.
Sorry,
Is that
it
close enough to a
seals
triumph?
the ribbon.
I can't see what's shown on that side. Give it a shake. Do you think it's a triumph? Shake the tray, let's see.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, now I can see, yeah, that's a triumph.
Like it's literally just laying on its side.
So you
over
have
to
a
that axis.
So,
Triumph and an advantage, looks
Triumph.
like. I can't see the other purple. It's hiding.
It's threat.
It's a blue.
even.
Oh, okay, so
one-
just
a
a
straight
triumph.
triumph.
Oh,
Just
that's
a
it.
triumph. Okay, so immediately you open yourself up to the ether, and you send a visual, picture to his mind, and immediately, while you're there and you're thinking this, and you walked closer to him,
No, I did not walk closer to him. I
so you
stood
stay
where I
right at
was.
the gate.
He said he was just
okay,
thinking
just
that.
to where you can take your shoes off.
I take my shoes off, and I think at him.
Okay, and you send the thought across the room, and it's weird. You almost see the ebbing energy of the ether flying across the room to him. As soon as you say that, immediately a third eye opens on the guru that's at the
Cringe a
end.
little bit because I'm expecting tentacles.
Yep.
And it's glowing with a golden ember
Experience is a
hue.
bitch.
As
Reaction.
you can practically feel him gesturing to you, even though he's not moving in meditation.
That's what.
Okay, sit, meditate with us.
This is gonna be forever, but okay.
Your hair
I
will just
will-
magically fall out.
I will do as instructed.
Okay. So you start meditating with them, and as soon as you calm down and you start meditating, give me a discipline roll. It's going to be against 3 purple. You've never done this before. You really should have taken those guru classes.
So discipline is willpower.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got one of those.
That's a good time to buy one of those. And you do have flat side points if those if you want to use one. Nothing bad's going to happen, right? I promise. Unless you roll it.
Yeah.
Again, extra clue for time?
No.
No.
This is you
Yes,
get
okay.
sitting down and joining in with the chants that are going on.
So this is 3 success.
Oh, nice. How's work sounds?
Versus
I see 2 thread. I don't see what's on that third.
3
Failing.
threat. So 2 success and 3 threat.
Okay. So immediately you kneel down and you start. So you kind of like look to the left, look to the right, try to make your
Don't fight.
body look in the position that you're trying to get into, so you're looking like everybody else. And immediately you start meditating, and you hear the thoughts of the room in just slow procession kind of wave over you. And all of a sudden you hear this wisp of a voice ask, "Who are you? What are you doing here? What is his name?" And all these different thoughts coming through to you.
Do I look like a bitch?
See, Eric's just smiling, he's waiting for those 3 thread.
What could possibly go wrong?
Eric suddenly appears.
My name
Despair.
He's glowing.
I am here because of, and then the image of like the footprints of the ether and
Do you mention your friend? You think the footprints are his?
the. Yeah. From before the accident though.
Okay, so you send them images of him.
And then boom, and the footprints and the glowing and the mud.
And you're sending these visions swapping to everybody. And as you're doing that, in the middle of you doing that, all of a sudden you feel like a tickle go up your spine. And while you're meditating and telling everybody about this, camera kind of pans around the room showing everybody sitting there quietly meditating as there's this like upper level of ethermancy / psychic thing going on. As you're sitting there meditating and all of a sudden you open your eyes. And your eyes are just glazed black. As all of a sudden, now you're not being possessed or anything, but all of a sudden you get scared, and you're the loss. The moment that you show his face with the loss, immediately your face flashes to when he had the black eyes. And then when your compatriots all got butt monkeyed with the darkness and all fell in line with the darkness, and you looked at all of their eyes filled with inky darkness. And then as you're sitting there, you close your eyes and they flutter and the darkness disappears out of your eyes. And everyone in the room is basically seeing these panic flashes of the darkness. And then the explosion, and then the grief that you all had thinking your friend was dead.
And then they all explode.
Oh no, if he was possessed by the darkness, then yes, but he was never possessed. The darkness never got to hitch a ride with him. And literally, you know, in unison, all these voices at once are asking you about the darkness. That you know nothing.
I will.
You gave it to your fear.
I will transmit what it looked like was happening to my friends and how much I was trying to fight it and didn't let it in.
So you basically are being open and honest with them. You're opening your heart about the darkness.
Honesty.
Honesty, the worst system ever.
It's the direct opposite of tentacles.
Tentacles disgust me. Honesty disgusts
More
me
so.
more.
I am not being honest. I am giving my version of events
From your perspective.
from my
yeah.
perspective.
So pretty much after this discourse goes back and forth a few times, they basically are asking, why are you here? What is it you seek? You come with a burdened heart.
Hold up a milk carton. Have you seen this?
Have you seen this either, Manser?
The burden in my heart is for my family and country, and is not part of this particular, not part of why I am here. I am here because of my friend, or what is left of my friend, or what my friend has become, or
Lots of and/ors and maybe a but.
But or 3.
and to know what his fate is.
So pretty much you're sensing from the consensus of the room that they are interested in this, especially since when you lost control of your vision and it was showing like everything flashing all classic, Lucas style. They're like, we are concerned as well. So how may we assist you?
Well, the first part is my friend came through the village below to come up here.
And then all of a sudden you're hearing like a cacophony of different voices saying different things very fast and very low, so it's just out of perceptible range. And then finally you sense from the guru at the beginning, at the front of the room, he basically tells everyone to shush. The being that came through our town may not be your friend. How would you identify your friend?
We have a talisman of his.
Present your talisman.
I have it in my
Okay.
pocket.
So all of a sudden you come out of surreal space and you pull the vial with the hairs. That by the way, when you pull the vial out, the hairs are practically aglow right now with ether. You're getting the idea that this place has got some serious ether juju. And pretty much at the moment you're pulling the vial out, screen swipe back to the village. And all of a sudden, as Scrapper is basically fixing an egg beater, so you brought her a broken egg beater, and she's just like, "Hey, you Stone Age barbarians."
What's
And
the
she's
oil? You make it work that
all
much
of a
better.
sudden, 3 of the children come by, and they drop something covered in skins. They pull the skins off, and immediately it catches your attention because it's ether tech. It's beat up like 10-year-old ether tech, but it's ether tech.
And do I recognize what it's from?
Give me a ether tech roll. Let's find out. It's gonna be 3 purple because it's all damaged and old and dirty and been wrapped up because somebody found it on the side of a mountain. And then they used it as a sled once, and use it as upgrade your roll. Use it as a weight to hold one of the well caps down.
Well, let's see here. So we got this. I got a success and 1 threat.
So one point of strain is you're just like, you're working non-stop and you like pinch your finger and you're like, as you go look at this thing, it's actual technology. You immediately start fitzing with it and you realize that this is a ether engine. It's an older model, like 20 years older. As you drop your needle, that's the point of strain.
Yeah.
As there's a needle in play in the room. That was loud.
Sorry.
As Scrappers is...
Oh, no.
No. As Scrappers is kneeling down looking at this engine thing. And you're realizing immediately that this is from the era back in the war, as the flashlights come out to play. And you recognize this engine as part of the not so nice coalition that took over Peter's homeland.
Oh. Does it look like it could possibly work again if I fix it?
It
or
does
is it
look-
like
it-
so far gone?
It looks like it does look like you could get it working again. It's basically like a small time generator.
Oh.
Let's move my feet. As we're looking for a needle and a haystack, which I got it right here.
You found the
Nice.
needle?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Team effort. As
Needle, haystack.
you realize with a few parts from the Gallivant, you could get this generator working again.
And it would boost our.
Well, it's basically a generator. I mean, you could use it for whatever generator reasons you'd like.
Underwater airship.
I
But
can't
you-
record that in the logs. Already in a previous century.
And you realize that this is like, at the time this was made, it was top of the line tech. So you're having the hint of what is this doing here?
I can't add. Do any of the kids speak English?
Well, there's that one guy that can translate for you.
I'm gonna ask him if he knows where they found it. Like, where was it found initially?
Oh, that's the old well-kept. Wait, the children, have been playing with that since I was a child.
Yes, but where did it come from before that?
Well, it came from the mechanical man place.
Mechanical man place.
Yes, you're right. We're 2 valleys over where the mechanical man used to reside.
Ah, okay. I am going to tell.
Can we split that party more?
No, I'm gonna fly there
And what?
when the ship comes back.
Has a generator.
She just needs
What if
3 cows.
Airborne.
What if we just left the motorcycle behind?
We've got that golf cart. I wanted a flying golf cart.
Chitty chitty bang bang.
The flying skiff, as I like to call it.
Yes. That would have been perfect for this type of situation.
Yeah, but it's on the ship.
Also,
So-
none of us have piloting.
I have piloting.
Do you?
Yeah.
So what do you
It's
do?
just you're better at it.
What do you do with this generator?
No, not operating.
The
Piloting.
piloting, the different skill. Because there's
I have two
operation for
doing
the
it,
big
never
one.
mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're okay. You're average with piloting.
I'm actually going to hold on to it.
Okay. Are you gonna ask him to draw you a map to what he was talking
Yeah.
about?
I mean, not that I'll
And
follow it too long.
Basically, he's gonna chew your ear off explaining that, oh yeah, like 10 years ago, a group of mechanical men came here, they were dropped off and they were building something, and then there's, a couple small explosions and a couple avalanches that happened over the winter, and nobody came back.
Okay.
Solid.
There was this one guy, and he kind of describes the stories of what this guy was like, known for wearing lots of black, he was big, and very muscular.
Well, people will want to hear about this one.
I was gonna say, give me a knowledge roll when they give you the description of the guy. I'll even let you roll ether tech for it against 4 purple. How about that? As he's describing the guy and his look and his emblem.
All right.
He rolls really well.
2. With 2 threat.
So, as you're tinkering with this generator, you're trying to strip the contacts down to see if you can fix it without any spare parts, because you're good at doing that. You got the redundant systems. You're all about taking one thing apart to fix another.
Yep.
And just as you're about to get this generator kicked up, realizing that there's just a little ether left in the canister, immediately when he describes the gentleman in question, you kind of pop the clutch on this little generator, it lights up, and the ether canister explodes on you, thereby requiring a lot more fixing.
But
Because
I got 2 successes.
for the history check to see if you know who he's talking about.
Yeah, but I didn't even roll a.
But what it was you were so taken aback when he described the gentleman that you know he is describing Hans Goofer,
Hans Goofer.
Hans Goofer.
one of the gentlemen that was the head of the organization of Ethertex that created the coalition that took over Russia, like one of the head Ethermancers,
Okay.
who supposedly disappeared when the first ether bomb went off. Supposedly. He was also known for being an utter crackpot too, because he spent too much time with ether. Ether.
No, we don't know anybody like that.
Short answer is yes. We can put tentacles on it.
And your translator will gladly kind of give you a hand-drawn map for what they're talking about there. But he's like, don't go there. Place is
Why?
totally a death trap. Avalanches happen at a moment's notice. There's no safe paths to get in there. The winds are horrible. It's almost like he picked that spot because he wanted someplace no one would ever go. But he was obsessed with the temple.
He was, this Hans Goofer.
Yeah. He used to go to the temple at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Interesting. I'm making a mental note of this so I can tell him.
And at the exact moment he mentions again the temple, pop, camera pops back to the temple. But then, all of a sudden, you get this wishy-washy, glowy, golden glow as our favorite ethermancer's floating in the ether. What is he doing while floating in the ether?
Look, Ma, no hands.
Oh,
As his hands become tentacles.
Yes, hands.
I'm assuming that,
Yes,
that
tentacles.
floating in the ether, what I'm doing is I am taking just since there's raw fuel all around me, like the first time I was like, this is raw fuel. I wonder what happens when I do this little thing. I'm gonna do something twice as big now, twice as big. And so we're like 12 hours into this or something. So at this point I'm like, let's create a micro universe. It's like, oh no, they're delicious.
Well, I will tell you, for being in the ether itself, in the belly of the beast, you have a downgrade to the difficulty rolls. For anything you do, you downgrade it one check.
Actually, I think what would work fairly well, and something that I think Divine is perfectly capable of doing, is I'd be scrying on everybody and trying to figure things out. I want to find out what happened to the dark guy and the weird blue dude and
Okay,
see what's going on
so
over
go
there.
ahead and give me a roll against 1 purple, but there are 2 blacks. The difficulty of all this raw, unchecked power.
Yes, I require 4 yellows and a green. And a purple and
2 black, just from the raw, uncontrollableness.
Yes. 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 That's fine.
Actually, it's very good.
No advantages, but everything else is success. 4 successes?
4
5, 6
successes. So you start making these bubble windows in the ether itself. As you're realizing what the darkness is doing, is the darkness is back in quintessence with that magister. And the darkness is teaching him tricks to make himself more in control of the ether. And telling him all these horrible, and you see him just like sitting at his desk and he's just like writing without actually cognitively writing, and hearing this voice, and you're seeing this like shadow moving around him, talking to him, telling him all these things, and you're seeing him write down these ether equations, and multiple layers of reality upon reality upon reality, and how the shadow can make him just like the shadow, all-powerful wraith that has no fear for the material realm and immortal. He just needs to push himself to the limits to find where the ether limit is.
Seen this episode of Supernatural.
And then all of a sudden you see another portal pop where you see a glowing version of yourself walking buck naked through snow.
So the only difference is that it's glowing.
And you see like the blizzard winds are hitting you, but they're like arcing around you because of the pure heat that's surrounding the body, and you're sensing that is your immortal self that you do doppelganger yourself with.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
And then you're seeing this weird sketchy where he walks normal and then so some kind of weird time progression as you see he goes to the temple.
Seems a bit glitchy to me.
And basically just
It
walks,
was my first god, okay?
walks onto a mountaintop and then all of a sudden looks around. And the moment he looks around, he's now inside the temple. Like the temple just appeared around him. And then all of a sudden, all these voices talking at once, and you can see him just like a child, an autistic child in a room full of loud noises, just drops to the ground, almost crippled by all the stimulus. Until finally, all the voices hush down. And then you see them talking in slow cadence to him, asking him questions he knows nothing about. And then all of a sudden, they all start projecting into his mind different things like peace, joy, love, sacrifice, all that's good in the world, and then he starts asking them questions, and you see it seems to be like almost a lifetime of him sitting there basking in their wisdom. Then all of a sudden, another one of your little view windows, you see you standing there when the ether bomb goes off. It's kind of embarrassing. Because instantly you get turned into a greasy black smear on the ground, and that's all you see. It's like maybe you imagine that you're here. Maybe this is the afterlife as you start to question things. And then all of a sudden, random portal pops up as you see this giant war machine trudging through the Arctic ice. And people cold and hungry, and just sitting around a single candle burner with some food. And then all of a sudden you flash back to another portal where it shows that same temple. And it seems that it's just old people meditating. And you see somebody that could be Peter's grandfather sitting there meditating.
It's just a Florida retirement home.
And then all of a sudden another window pops up and you see the Gallivant scraping against a mountain. And this
That's the
horrendous-
timeline.
And some weird shouting
That's
going
it right
on.
there.
And you're seeing years and years of information. It seems like you're sitting there watching pay-per-view TV in the ether for decades.
That's what he does when he's not in the ether.
Mm-hmm. So what's something else that you're looking for? He's lost in contemplation. Too many channels.
Yeah,
Overstimulated.
well, I'm trying to figure out narrative threads that my character would have interest in. And I would probably, of all the threads that have been dangled in front of us so far, would want to find things related to Peter's backstory. I think that's the thing that has the most questions.
That's some Game of Thrones programming right there.
You just went three-eyed raven on us.
That's right. I'm gonna sit here and watch everyone creepily now.
We'll call you Peter Snow. And as all of a sudden, you're seeing, that old man Peter, and you're just like, that reminds me of my friend Peter. He's a hoot. He's a great guy. And then you start wondering about Peter. Now go ahead and give me a discipline roll.
Oh, I'm really good at that too.
It's going to be
Starship Troopers, would you like to learn more?
It's going to be against 2 purple because you're downgrading all the difficulties. But I'm going to turn one of those purple red. Because I want to protect Peter's history if I can.
Sure.
Four successes and 2 advantages.
Okay, so you see the old man meditating, and then you're like, it's Peter. I swear if that's got to be Peter's grandfather. And all of a sudden, the face kind of lifts up in meditation, just as the whole. And you're like, no, dude, the glowing light takes off 10 years, and it's Peter. And then all of a sudden, you start fixating on Peter. And you're like, well, where is he now? And you're thinking now, and then all of a sudden, it kind of like you see him just change and turn younger, and it's all of a sudden the Peter that's just now in Peter's time discussing with the ancient masters in this room talking. And you're hearing the voices, and you're seeing around him the visuals of what he's giving these people about you, his friend. So you're seeing this inception. You are worried about your friend is worried about you. And all of a sudden you look at Peter, and all of a sudden a decade washes off his face. And you just see a hint of Peter talking to a woman. Now, who is this woman that you're talking to that you're romantically interested in? Romantically, basically trying to get in her pants in your young teenage years.
Just help your mother.
Oh, we just went Game of Thrones.
Well, considering who I was, that would be the person who my father betrothed me to.
Okay, so very fine attired woman. You know, you're taking her out on a sled ride in the snow.
Being Russian in this time frame, this would be during the Ether War?
Just before.
Just before the Ether War?
Mm-hmm.
So probably Norwegian, because they would have been somebody that we wanted to increase our alliances
Okay,
with.
so you're on
A Norwegian princess. I'm gonna go
a
with
Norwegian princess with a reindeer-pulled sleigh. Hey, that's legit. They still use
that. We
it.
still use them.
And you're seeing him with this woman, and they're playing the patty fingers and looking longingly into each other's eyes. And you notice there's a crest on the side of the sleigh that's not anything.
I never thought someone who my family wanted me to marry would actually be so charming and smart.
And not shit.
And you're seeing young
Yeah, that's a
Peter
Peter show.
happy
That is
in beautiful clothes and just looking at her sparkling eyes as she's happy at Peter.
Do you know any history at all?
No.
He looks really nicely dressed in a really expensive
Yeah.
sleigh pulled by real reindeer with some kind of crest that's got the Norwegian flag involved in it, and it's screaming money.
Yeah. Okay. I think that translates right there.
And then all of a sudden his face melts again into little baby Peter in a crib with a bunch of people spread around.
Can we backtrack to the real reindeer thing, as opposed to not real reindeer, like mechanized reindeer?
No, we haven't mechanized
No.
reindeer yet.
No, 50 years
These
ago.
These are
reindeer.
flesh and blood before ether bombs went off and mechanical men were transcending.
When Quintessence, the first thing Quintessence did is invent pain deer, and those have spread around the planet. Okay.
They're deer with tentacles for horns.
It's the first thing they did.
And you see
Before even writing the Constitution.
little baby Peter in a crib, dressed like only a royal baby would be dressed, surrounded with like only the closest 50, 60 members of the family all looking down at the baby going cuckoo cuckoo. But you can't quite make out faces. You just know that there's a lot of really ritzy people looking at this baby
And a
that
walrus.
you know for sure is Peter.
Okay.
As all of a
And
sudden,
the crib has a fancy symbol on it too, which you can't recognize.
Money.
Money.
and all of a sudden you hear
There's lots
Gold
of gold.
money.
There's lots
You
of gold.
hear Peter's voice talking about you and how he felt about you. And it's more of a feel speak as opposed to word speak, so it's unfiltered. So how do you really feel about Peter? Throw your feels out there.
I mean, how does Peter feel about?
Our ether answer.
He is.
Your emotions being laid bare. The conniver of the group.
Hello.
Ah,
I'm just kicking it.
okay, you can pick.
You can pick all you
You
like.
come on in.
Or not.
Join us.
We like when you watch.
While overly enamored of tentacles, he cares about people and the good of humanity.
That's false.
Humanity is a whole.
He cares very little about humanity. cares about fire and tentacles. And an overabundance of teeth.
Yes,
I
but this
also
is
make
Peter's
money.
feelings. This is how Peter feels that his friend is.
Yes.
And you're feeling
He's-
this glow from him. It's almost as if you were there in a way.
He is like a magician from the fairy tales of old.
The terrifying ones where you want to stay home.
Baba Yaga. He's gonna give your house tentacles to walk on.
But that's very Russian. If you end up getting,
Yeah.
if you end up getting power, even if
Fairy
you
tales
want
were
to do,
very dark.
even
and-
if you want to do good, normal people are still going to be terrified of
Oh
it.
yeah, right up there with Rasputin, I'm sure. Oh God, I've been
we
nuked.
don't.
Rasputin never got nuked.
He is generous with his knowledge to those who
He's your guru
he's
of sorts. He's talked to you twice about Ethermeds.
I would say guru because guru implies that I would follow his beliefs and I don't. He is my trainer would be a better
Mentor.
mentor. No, even mentor.
Guide. Spiritual
trainer.
guide.
Well, again, spiritual guide, trainer.
Okay.
Like an athletic trainer.
He's your
Like a
coach.
training
He's
bra.
a coach.
Yeah.
You know,
He's a coach.
I support and provide protection.
I will also show the views of him in battle, brave, and in the front lines, despite not having sword and gun, using his magic to defend
Says
the
he's
ship.
crazy.
Okay, and
Earnest. Earnest.
despite the fact that he has neither gun nor sword to hold off the attackers on the ship.
No, he has the tentacles made from orphans to do that.
Oh yeah.
So
Tentacles made from
our
You don't remember
Ethermancer is spending what feels like 10 lifetimes doing Ether TV, watching things, the past, the present, the future.
This is better than Showtime.
And what is another thing that you're going to do before something happens? Even though it feels like you're now an old man, you have this wispy beard, you personified the years that have passed in the ether. You're living off ether dewdrops. Literally, they drop by every now and then. You just grab one with your finger.
Satisfying.
They taste like Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Oh, terrible. Give me some crab juice.
Man,
I would like to find something dangerous and exciting to send the crew to for fun. Because
I
that is what I
object.
do for fun.
I object.
I want to find like the nearest like weird cursed Mayan
I think I
temple.
found it.
so you're like looking, you're getting all choked up in the ether because you're looking for weirdness. Like you've turned on the weird dial to 12 and you're zeroing
Well, you
in on
know, I
different
think
things.
I have a map to it already.
So immediately you pick out a few things that are popping up, which I will be writing down as I spew them out
Of
to
course.
remind them. So for one, you notice that in the Atlantic Ocean, there's something going on as you just like smash, your point of view gets smashed into the waves and fish go flipping by, and that was a good save.
Just like that.
Yeah, and you realize that the ether techs, the evil group of ether techs, seem to be building something in the ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic.
Atlantic.
Yes.
And they're building some kind of undersea thing
Berlin.
with some kind of ether techs undersea ships.
You really wanted us to make a submarine.
I want us to do everything, okay? Someone's like,
The Nautilus.
let's go into space with a captain that's a pig. This would be a good idea.
So
Got
we
one.
have, we have
I would
ether
like-
Atlantis.
I would like it noted that if we do end up with something akin to the Nautilus, This will be much more like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen than like 20,000. I'm Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
And then, of course, another one of your little viewports you created like spans off to not far away in India. There seems to be some kind of ether apocalyptic cult doing their cult thing.
Yeah, I've always been doing
Yeah.
that. Whatever.
But you make some ethermancers in charge of the cult now, and things get a little more interesting. As you see them, they're at war with Britannia still, and there's still that whole thing going on where they're thuggies doing their thing, and kind of an ether version of that going on. Yeah, as we're seeing a little Indiana Jones going on.
Okay.
So we got that going
That's some
on.
good underground temple there. Underwater
Yeah.
temple, underground temple. I'm liking this theme.
Just temples under things.
And then, of course, another one of your viewports pop up as you see a Native American shaman summoning Thunderbird to basically destroy a rail of trains. Basically, there's a bunch of trains building rails, and Thunderbird just napalms the rails, melting them in place. Massacring quite a few people, but, stopping the
We need to
progression.
capture one of those.
A Thunderbird, a Native American, or a rail.
As they just floating around with a rail. This
All
is
right.
our Thunderbird raw.
And here's how we do it. We use the shaman to summon a Thunderbird on the rail, and then we use the rail as the railgun it will be to launch the Thunderbird.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is promising. All right, guys.
And then, you realize that, you have another window open up with the darkness. Where the darkness is basically pointing out in schematics to the mentor. And this looks like years later. His beard's gotten longer. He's got a little Fu Manchu going. As he's basically instructing a few Ethermancer students in the construction of small, portable, beryllium sphere-style ether bombs.
Oh.
And the darkness just keeps popping up, whispering to him is, we can make them smaller, we can make them better. Quintessence should rule the world.
All of these things are true empirically.
As you kind of see a flashback of him walking out of where they're building these small tactical ether bomb nukes, and you just see that the other council members of Quintessence seem to just have the shadowy butt monkeyness going on. As this guy seems 2 years from now taking over Quintessence.
They got bitched. Butt monkey didn't work very well, but they became a bitch of the darkness.
And then you see 3 different versions where the reanimated guy catches Peter and kills him. Catches Peter, steps on his head until he pops. And then the third scary one is he catches him, brings him back to somebody, and then Peter comes out of the machines as a reanimated corpse.
Oh, the guy that's after Peter is a Revenant?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I don't think.
Well, it's because he hasn't gotten close enough really to be.
Not to you guys, it's only been Peter he falls around.
Well,
And then
this is
Peter
terrifying.
becomes a revenant with the eye thingy and
Dun, 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 dun.
And then another one where you see the alternate realities, where all of a sudden you see your dear friend Dr. Jekyll come out with his newest invention. He holds his glass